Halloween, a time for costumes, candy, and celebrations. But for some, it's a night where the veil between the living and the dead becomes dangerously thin. These are 3 true tales of terror that will leave you questioning if you're truly alone this Halloween night. In the quiet, fog-choked forests of New England, there is an old legend. On Halloween night, a mysterious light floats through the trees. They call it the Lantern Man, a figure said to lead travelers astray and straight to their doom. In 1882, young Sarah Coleman dared to walk through those woods at dusk. Locals warned her, stay indoors, especially on Halloween. But she had no choice. Her little brother was sick, and she needed to fetch a doctor. As she made her way through the misty woods, a flickering light appeared. At first, Sarah thought it was another traveler. She called out, but the light began to move, almost taunting her, pulling her deeper into the trees. The light suddenly stopped, revealing a cloaked figure holding a lantern, his face shadowed. He didn't speak. Sarah turned to run, but the path behind her had vanished. The trees seemed to close in, trapping her. Sarah was never seen again. Only the flickering light of the lantern remains, floating through the woods, waiting for its next victim. In the 1980s, the small town of Eastbrook was known for its lively Halloween parties. But in 1986, it gained infamy for something else entirely, something no one ever solved. That year, a group of teenagers were hosting their annual Halloween bash. Among the costumed partygoers was a man in a cheap plastic mask, plain white with hollow eyes. At first, no one thought much of him, assuming he was just another guest. But as the night went on, strange things began to happen. People noticed the man was always watching, but never speaking. He didn't dance, didn't eat, didn't drink, and no one seemed to remember inviting him. Around midnight, one of the teens, Amanda, went to confront him. She tried asking who he was, but the man remained silent. When she reached out to touch his arm, he simply turned and walked away, disappearing into the crowd. The next morning, Amanda was found dead in her home. The police found no signs of forced entry, no struggle, but a single white mask was left on her bed. To this day, the identity of the masked man remains a mystery, and no one knows who or what really took Amanda's life that night. On the outskirts of a small town in the Midwest, there's an old, overgrown pumpkin patch that no one visits anymore. It's said that every year, on Halloween night, a strange mist rises from the ground, and something stirs among the pumpkins. In 2016, local farmer Greg Wilson was the last person to work that land. He'd grown pumpkins there every season for over a decade, until that fateful Halloween. Late that evening, while gathering the last of his harvest, Greg noticed one unusually large pumpkin at the edge of the field. Curious, he went to inspect it, but as he bent down to touch it, the pumpkin pulsed. He quickly stepped back, thinking it was a trick of the light, but the ground began to shake, and the vines around the pumpkin started to writhe, twisting toward him like living things. Greg turned to run, but something caught his leg, one of the vines pulling him down. His screams echoed through the field, but by the time anyone arrived, Greg was gone. All that was left was an overturned wheelbarrow and a large, cracked pumpkin with a trail of blood leading into the mist. So this Halloween, If you find yourself in the woods, at a party, or even picking pumpkins, be careful. Not all spirits are friendly. Some are still out there waiting for you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more terrifying true tales. And if you've experienced something strange on Halloween, share your story below, if you dare. Until next time, happy Halloween.